Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon, I'm Keone Mo, and welcome to your 3 p.m. news update. Conservative Member of Parliament Scott Anderson says he is disappointed that the Supreme Court of Canada will not hear an appeal to save the ostriches on a BC farm. Anderson told reporters in Ottawa that he sent a letter earlier to the minister responsible about the case.
I think it goes to underscore the structural need for change within the CFIA, and I'm very disappointed in Liberal ministers and the lack of communication.
NDP interim leader Don Davies says his caucus will keep the minority Liberal government alive in the first of 3 confidence tests of the federal budget today. Members of Parliament are set to vote on 2 amendments to the budget that were proposed by the Bloc Québécois and the Conservatives. If the government loses either vote or the vote on the budget itself, it could trigger a snap election. Davies says his caucus can't support the Conservative amendment, which is set to go to a vote later today. He says the 7 new Democrat MPs are still deciding how to vote on the Bloc amendment and the budget itself. Mark Carney's new budget has axed Trudeau's initiative to plant 2 billion trees. Patrick McConnell has more.
Carney's new budget could cut billions of dollars allocated for tree planting in Canada. To date, 228 million trees have been planted under Trudeau's program, and while Carney would fulfill existing contracts, the program will ultimately be scrapped. Aidan Musk, a veteran tree planter and environmental engineering student, says the program's impact on carbon reduction could have been overstated.
Yeah, I think it's a complicated question. I think that if you're going to allocate funds as a federal government, I think there's much more effective ways to accomplish those goals. Truth is, I think the forest over time is an incredible ecosystem and can reforest itself pretty effectively as well.
Musk is aware of more tree planting contracts being awarded as part of the program, but did not personally see a pay increase. Patrick McConnell, BCIT News.
Across the globe, research is being done to help beat prostate cancer. Our reporter, Caroline Doyle, has more.
In Australia, a new study from Flinders University shows enzymes may be contributing to prostate cancer cell growth. Researchers say inhibiting these enzymes cause androgen receptors, a protein that contributes to cancer cell growth, to become unstable, causing cancer cells to die. Callum Fair, whose father passed away in 2013 from prostate cancer, says it's important for men to be proactive.
Because I think a lot of men, especially, they might not visit the doctor, they might not think about how they're doing, they might, think they're more capable than they are, and then all of a sudden they have symptoms of something and it's too late.
Researchers say this new discovery could help to improve outcomes for men with prostate cancer. Caroline Doyle, BCIT News.
Coquitlam residents can now submit their own recommendations to develop the city's new official community plan. Reporter Jeannie Lynn has the details.
The City of Coquitlam is inviting the community to share feedback on a new, streamlined, user-friendly official community plan due for review in 2027. The plan this year requires updates on 3 key areas: public transit, small-scale multi-unit housing, and housing affordability. Renee Disincroix is the city's director of urban planning. She talks about why the city's OCP is overdue for an update.
Our OCP is just much larger than a lot of other municipalities because we have neighborhood plans as a part of our official community plan as well. So the document is just, over time, it's just gotten quite large and quite complex. And so what we're undertaking here is a way of kind of consolidating and streamlining to make it so that you don't have, 3 to 5 policy repeats across the document.
Coquitlam City Hall is hosting multiple information sessions throughout November. Residents can submit the survey on City Hall website. Jeannie Lin, BCIT News.
An Ontario judge has handed down a life sentence to a man who pleaded guilty today to killing a family in a mass stabbing in Ottawa last year. Kyle Duggan reports.
Justice Kevin Phillips called it one of the worst crimes in Ottawa's history, the stuff of nightmares, as he handed down a life sentence today. The violent mass stabbing of a mother, her 4 children, and a family friend happened last year in the sleepy Ottawa suburb of Barrhaven. Fabrio de Zoisa pled guilty in a courtroom to 4 counts of first-degree murder, 2 of second-degree, and 1 of attempted murder. Victims' family members sobbed as they read out impact statements to a packed courtroom. The judge says this case has shocked the community and shaken it to its core. Kyle Duggan, The Canadian Press, Ottawa.
Former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien says Canada's premiers are too quick to use the notwithstanding clause for marginal reasons. Canadian press reporter Karen Rebott tells us the 91-year-old Liberal says it seems premiers have lost sight of the provision's original purpose.
Jean Chrétien was the Justice Minister who negotiated the clause's inclusion in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms back in 1981. He says the provision was designed for legislatures to step in and override certain portions of the Charter for up to 5 years when a court ruling went too far. But in Toronto last night, while speaking at a Journalists for Human Rights event, he shared he thinks provinces are using it for anything, and that worries him very much.
Artificial intelligence has been all over social media, and now it's in music. SFU professor Philippe Pasquier says AI will help people break into the music industry.
In terms of music making, change the practices, is that those generative systems potentially lower the barrier of entry for beginners.
Nancy Pelosi, arguably the most powerful woman in the history of American politics, says she won't seek re-election, and she was a former U.S. House Speaker. AP correspondent Jennifer King reports.
The House will be in order. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will not run for re-election in 2026.
With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative.
The 85-year-old Democrat, a mother of 5 who started in politics as a volunteer, has represented San Francisco, California for nearly 40 years. In 2007, she became the first woman elected as House Speaker. She helped steer landmark policies like the Affordable Care Act, Dodd-Frank financial reforms, and the repeal of the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries had this reaction to the announcement.
Nancy D'Alessandro Pelosi will go down in history as the greatest speaker of all time.
In her announcement post, she left those who sent her to Congress with a call to action.
We have made progress. We have always led the way. And now we must continue to do so by remaining full participants in our democracy.
Jennifer King, Washington.
Typhoon Kalmagi has made landfall in Vietnam, pummeling the country with powerful winds and heavy rain. 3 fishermen have already been reported missing. Authorities have begun evacuating more than 537,000 people due to rising floodwaters and landslides. The central provinces of Vietnam had already been coping with record-breaking rainfall, and this is after leaving the Philippines and causing more than 100 deaths. Filipino President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has issued a state of emergency. A Dallas Cowboys defensive player has passed away after a reported incident of self-harm. Reporter Elijah Ford spoke with experts to understand how pressure in high-performance sports affects mental health.
A report this morning from the Texas Department of Public Safety confirms Dallas Cowboys player Marshawn Kneeland has passed away from a self-inflicted gun wound while fleeing from police. His girlfriend confirmed to the Dallas Morning News he had a history of mental health issues. Sports psychologist Alex Cayuas says consistent exposure to high pressure in sports can create chronic stress.
Chronic stress is what kills you. Stress simply means that you are out of balance in some way, shape, or form and need to re-establish that balance. So it doesn't matter if you exercise too much, play too much sports, eat too much broccoli, sleep too much, meditate too much, anything in excess will create some form of stress.
If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, there is help available. Call or text 988 or chat at 988.org. Elijah Ford, BCIT News.
The Vancouver Golden Eyes and Seattle Torrent are the names of the Professional Women's Hockey League's 2 new teams joining the league in its 3rd season. A Golden Eye is a diving duck that flies fast. PWHL Vice President of Brand and Marketing, Kanan Bhat Shah, says the league collaborated with a creative agency for Seattle's name and logo, but the Golden Eyes was developed in-house.
We're very proud that we have Vancouverites on our team who were able to very authentically help craft the creative vision behind how the Golden Eyes are taking flight.
Toronto Blue Jays brass held season-ending availabilities today after a memorable playoff run was capped by a Game 7 loss to the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series over the weekend. Blue Jays president Mark Shapiro says he's proud of what the team stood for.
And ultimately, you could watch them play the game and everything else around the game and know what their identity was as a team and know what our identity was as an organization. And I think each of us throughout the country saw us in them.
Like many Canadians, Canada soccer coach Jesse Marsh stayed up late to watch the Toronto Blue Jays playoff run. He took notice of the country rallying behind the Jays and says he believes next year's World Cup will be even more electrifying for Canadian sports fans.
I was also excited about sports culture, right, in Canada and people coming alive for the Blue Jays. And I believe that we will be even bigger, right? I believe that the World Cup at home in Canada will be even bigger.
Drivers have begun to arrive in Sao Paulo, Brazil, ahead of the race this weekend. McLaren's Lando Norris is currently in the lead for the World Driver Championship title by only 1 point. He's followed by teammate Oscar Piastri in second and current champion Max Verstappen in third. There will be a sprint on Saturday, giving racers an extra opportunity to score points in the last 4 races of the season. People around the world looking up at the sky last night and, again tonight, will be able to get a closer than average look at the moon. The full moon this month is a supermoon. This happens when the moon is actually physically close to us, and it's a full moon. But it may be hard to see with the rain for the weather here, with a high of 12 degrees and a low of 8. This was Keone Mo with your 3 p.m. news update.
When I tell people that I studied journalism, they immediately say, oh, you want to be a reporter. But I think, in my case personally, I really want to go into magazines, PR, social media. And I think here at school we learn a lot of skills that allow you to go into that world, because you learn how to write for social media, social content, for websites,